Australia is a continent shaped by silence, heat, and isolation. Under its blinding light, life evolved into forms so specialized that no other place on Earth matches their precision. Here, the ground holds stories of venom older than human memory, and each shadow across the red sand carries a danger that biology still struggles to quantify. Scientists have measured, cataloged, and compared poisons across continents. Yet one truth remains unshakable. Australia hosts the most venomous snakes ever recorded in modern biology. Some species possess chemistry capable of shutting down a nervous system in minutes. Others evolve toxins so advanced that even predators refuse to challenge them. These venoms are not accidents. They are products of a continent that spent millions of years alone, refining survival into art. As the camera glides over the cracked desert floor, heat waves rise like spectral curtains. Along the coastline, cool winds from the Southern Ocean meet forests drenched in perpetual green. Between these extremes, savannas stretch toward the horizon, stitched together by ancient riverbeds and rocky plateaus, where serpents move like whispers through stone. Embedded in every habitat is a question that has followed biologists for generations. How did one isolated continent become the birthplace of the most powerful venoms on the planet? What environmental laws shaped these snakes into beings capable of killing small mammals in seconds, immobilizing birds mid-breath, and overwhelming the physiology of much larger animals with shocking efficiency? The answer lies in a combination of isolation, competition, and evolutionary pressure so intense that even ordinary species became extraordinary. On this land, every adaptation had to be sharper, faster, and more precise than anywhere else. Because in Australia, survival is not a race. It is a calculation, a negotiation between life and environment that happens at the molecular level. As the sun drops and the land cools, the camera captures an inland taipan gliding from beneath the cracked stone. Its scales drink the last light of the day, and for a moment, the desert holds its breath. This is not aggression. It is geometry in motion, a creature built by evolution to deliver the most lethal venom known to science with the accuracy of a biological instrument. In the forests of the south, a tiger snake coils beneath fallen eucalyptus leaves, blending into the landscape with perfect camouflage. On the eastern plains, the brown snake positions itself along a faint trail cut by insects and wind, its body aligned to intercept the smallest vibration. Across the northern coast, the coastal taipan sharpens the stillness around it, becoming a line of concentrated potential energy. These snakes are not monsters. They are the continent's finest engineers. Their venom is not cruelty. It is survival distilled into chemistry. Their speed is not violence. It is the mathematics of life under pressure. From the red desert to the dripping rainforest, each species reveals a fragment of a deeper truth. Australia is more than a land of danger. It is a living laboratory of evolution where power is measured not in force, but in precision. And to understand this power, we must go back to the ancient secrets written in its soil, its isolation, and its relentless heat. Because only then can we see how this continent forged snakes capable of redefining the limits of venom itself. Australia is not just a continent. It is a sealed time capsule where evolution ran its own private experiment for millions of years. Long before humans ever imagined maps or borders, this vast landmass drifted in solitude, severed from Asia and the rest of the ancient world, cut off from competing predators and the biological arms races unfolding elsewhere. Australia began shaping its own identity. Isolation is not emptiness. It is pressure. It forces life to sharpen, specialize, and transform. And on this immense island, evolution produced creatures that behave like refined equations rather than animals. Every scale, every muscle, every chemical mechanism inside an Australian snake tells the same story. Precision born for millions of years, without interruption. While other continents saw waves of predators rise and fall, Australia had its own rules. The climate oscillated between brutal heat and unexpected cold. Rainforests shrank and expanded. Deserts cracked open the interior. Each environment created a new challenge, and every challenge demanded a biological solution. Over time, Australia became a continent where only the perfectly adapted could thrive. The result was not ferocity. The result was refinement. This explains why snakes here, do not merely survive. They excel. They operate with such accuracy and biochemical sophistication that biologists consider Australian serpents some of the most advanced predators on Earth. The key lies in the dominance of one remarkable family, the elapids. Unlike vipers of the Americas, Africa, or Asia, elapids rely primarily on neurotoxins. They are fast, sleek, efficient hunters shaped by an environment that rewards speed and precision over brute force. Australian elapids refined this design even further. Their venoms evolved not just to kill, but to outperform any biological resistance their prey could develop. In other regions of the world, snakes encountered large mammals, competing carnivores, and enormous ecological pressure from multiple predator classes. That diversity diluted selective pressure and spread adaptations in many directions. But Australia was different. With fewer large predators and a unique composition of prey species, snakes experienced a cleaner, more focused evolutionary pathway. Survival did not require overpowering large prey. It required targeting the nervous system of small, quick animals before they could escape into burrows or between rocks. This is why Australian venom is overwhelmingly neurotoxic. It does not rely on slow enzymatic destruction like some vipers. It shuts down life at the source. A single bite becomes a chemical command that silences neurons, interrupts muscle communication, and disables movement with shocking speed. For millions of years, this strategy worked. Prey attempted to adapt, but each step of resistance was met with a new refinement in venom chemistry. A molecular arms race unfolded quietly, long before humans ever crossed these lands. Even today, biologists uncover variations in venom composition that show how deeply evolution carved its influence across each species and habitat. An inland taipan's venom differs from a coastal taipan's, not because one is more aggressive than the other, but because the prey they evolved alongside required drastically different biochemical strategies. This specialization is everywhere. The eastern brown snake developed venom that overwhelms blood chemistry because many of its prey species evolved rapid escape behaviors, forcing the snake to neutralize them quickly through another biological route. The tiger snake evolved differently again, shaped by wetlands, islands, and fluctuating ecosystems that demanded a venom capable of shutting down both warm-blooded and cold-blooded targets. These differences are not random. They are signatures of Australia's past, stamped into each species like evolutionary fingerprints. And this leads to one of the most fascinating comparisons in biology. On almost every continent, you can find harmless snakes, serpents with mild venom or none at all. But in Australia, even the species considered common or mild possess toxins that would rank as extremely dangerous anywhere else in the world. This does not mean Australia is hostile. It means evolution never stopped sharpening the edge. In a land where competition followed unique rules, survival meant becoming efficient rather than large, specialized rather than generalized, and chemically advanced rather than physically overwhelming. When you look at an Australian snake, you are not seeing danger. You are witnessing evolution in its purest form. Every movement is calculated. Every strike is intelligent. Every drop of venom represents thousands of generations adapting to a land that never allowed weakness to persist. Australia became the continent of extremes, not because its creatures are monstrous, but because isolation turned it into the world's most disciplined evolutionary laboratory. And the snakes that glide through its forests, deserts, and coasts are the continent's finest results. To understand Australian snakes, we must enter a world where chemistry becomes strategy. Venom is not simply a weapon. It is information, a biological message shaped by millions of years of selection, refined to deliver one precise command: immobilize the target before it escapes. Across continents, serpents evolved venoms with different goals. Vipers use hemotoxins that break down tissue and blood, turning the inside of the prey into liquid chaos. Cobras combine neurotoxins with cytotoxins to intimidate and weaken. But Australia forged something entirely different. Here, venom is built for speed. It is engineered to shut down the body by targeting its electrical system. Evolution did not reward pain, swelling, or destruction. It rewarded efficiency. Australian venom works by disabling communication between the brain and the muscles. It switches off life as if pulling the plug on the body's command center. This is the deadly brilliance of neurotoxins. To understand their power, imagine the nervous system as a network of electrical lines transmitting signals. These signals are carried by specialized molecules that leap across synapses, like sparks across a gap. If those signals stop, the body becomes silent. Muscles cannot move. The lungs cannot expand. Even the heart loses coordination. Australian snakes perfected molecules that interfere with this process faster than almost any venom on Earth. Some toxins bind directly to receptors on muscle cells, blocking the signal that tells them to contract. Others target nerves themselves, preventing them from releasing the chemical messengers needed to transmit impulses. The result is paralysis delivered with surgical precision. In the Inland Taipan, this design reaches its peak. Its venom contains neurotoxins so optimized that laboratory measurements reveal lethal doses at levels unmatched by any other terrestrial snake. The LD50, a scientific measure of venom potency, is astonishingly low, indicating a chemical efficiency far beyond what most predators ever evolved. Yet this is not just about strength. The venom acts in layers. One set of toxins immobilizes the muscles. Another shuts down clotting factors in the blood, disrupting the internal balance. Another interferes with nerve communication at multiple points, ensuring the prey cannot escape even if one biochemical route fails. This redundancy makes the venom incredibly reliable. It is the signature of an evolutionary arms race, where prey once evolved partial resistance, pushing the snake toward even more complex chemistry. Australian venom often contains dozens of molecular components, each with a specific task. Some act instantly. Others reinforce the effect. Some amplify paralysis. Others speed up spread through the body. Together, they operate like an orchestra of molecules tuned to perfection. Why did Australia evolve this molecular precision? The answer lies in the ecosystem. Many of the continent's snakes hunt small mammals, birds, and reptiles capable of fleeing quickly, burrowing, or launching themselves into cover. A slow venom would be useless. Hemotoxic breakdown would take minutes or hours, far too long in a landscape where a single missed meal could mean starvation. Neurotoxins offer the ideal solution by eliminating the prey's mobility almost immediately. This gave snakes a massive evolutionary advantage. Over time, those with faster-acting venom reproduced more successfully. The result was a lineage of predators that became masters of biochemical speed. Researchers studying venom evolution discovered something even more surprising. The neurotoxins of Australian elapids are not just strong, they are smart. They do not rely on a single target inside the body. They attack multiple systems at once, ensuring that even if a prey species develops resistance to one component, other components will still be effective. This multi-target design makes the venom resilient against evolutionary counterattacks. In simple terms, the venom is not just potent, it is adaptable. Even after millions of years, prey species in Australia struggle to evolve meaningful resistance. Each attempt at survival has been met by venom chemistry that adjusts, improves, or adds new layers. The Coastal Taipan demonstrates this evolutionary intelligence perfectly. Its venom acts exceptionally fast, but it also spreads quickly, penetrating tissues and reaching the bloodstream with remarkable efficiency. This makes its bite one of the most dangerous natural biochemical reactions in the world. Meanwhile, the eastern brown snake evolved venom that accelerates clotting rather than stopping it. This paradoxical mechanism causes catastrophic internal blockages, cutting off circulation and overwhelming the body's ability to regulate itself. It is a strategy that biology rarely produces, yet in Australia, evolution found it and refined it. Tiger snakes, living in wetlands and variable climates, developed a venom that works across a wide range of prey types, from amphibians to mammals. Their chemistry reflects ecosystems where flexibility equals survival. When viewed together, these venoms reveal a pattern. Australian snakes did not evolve the most powerful poisons because they needed to fight large predators. They evolved them because their prey demanded speed, reliability, and precision. Every molecule speaks to a deep narrative of survival under extreme conditions. Modern science continues to unravel their secrets. New studies reveal hidden components in snake venom that interact with human physiology in ways far more complex than previously imagined. These toxins can influence ion channels, neurotransmitter release, receptor sensitivity, and even microcirculation. Some act within seconds. Others deliver delayed but decisive effects. What makes Australia unique is not that these venoms exist, but that so many species possess them. The continent created an environment where biochemical excellence became the rule rather than the exception. When biologists say Australian snakes have the most powerful venom on Earth, they are not speaking metaphorically. They are describing a continent that turned chemistry into an evolutionary instrument of unmatched precision. The venom is not simply strong. It is fast, complex, layered, and ruthlessly effective.
It reflects a land where survival rewards the quickest mind, the sharpest adaptation, and the purest form of evolutionary logic. Here, in this vast and ancient landscape, venom became a masterpiece shaped by time, isolation, and necessity. It is not danger that defines it, but design. Australia's most dangerous snakes are not defined by aggression or size, but by evolutionary engineering. Each species represents a different chapter of the continent's biochemical history, and together they form one of the most extraordinary collections of predators on Earth. Understanding them requires removing human imagination from the equation. These snakes do not hunt humans. They do not stalk or chase. They are specialists navigating ecosystems where skill matters more than strength. And at the top of this list stands a serpent often described with numbers that feel almost mythical, the Inland Taipan. Found deep within Australia's arid interior, it glides through cracked clay fields and stony plains with effortless silence. Its reputation comes from a single fact confirmed by decades of scientific measurement. The Inland Taipan possesses the most potent venom of any land snake known to science. Not the fastest, not the most aggressive, simply the most chemically efficient. Its venom binds to the nervous system with extraordinary speed, preventing muscles from receiving signals. At the same time, other components sabotage blood clotting and cellular communication. This multi-layered attack ensures that even small doses deliver overwhelming physiological shutdown. Yet the Inland Taipan is calm, retiring, and rarely encountered. This contrast between lethal potential and gentle behavior reveals the truth of Australian snakes. Their power is evolutionary, not emotional. Coastal taipans represent another side of Australia's venomous lineage. They inhabit warm, humid coastal zones in the north and east, where dense vegetation and abundant prey shaped a very different predator. The coastal taipan is fast, alert, and capable of striking with exceptional reach. Its body is long and athletic, built for sudden acceleration. Its fangs, longer than those of most elapids, deliver venom packed with neurotoxins that spread rapidly through the bloodstream. The venom's efficiency is amplified by a component that increases tissue permeability, allowing toxins to disperse with remarkable speed. This is why the coastal taipan is considered one of the most dangerous snakes in the world. Not because it seeks conflict, but because its biology is optimized for decisive action against agile mammals that flee with explosive speed. Every adaptation in the taipan reflects the ecosystem it serves. The eastern brown snake offers yet another evolutionary strategy. Found from rural fields to suburban edges, it is Australia's most frequently encountered dangerous snake and the species responsible for most snakebite fatalities in the country. But the reason is not aggression, it is proximity. Eastern browns thrive in open landscapes cultivated by humans. Their prey, mainly rodents, flourish in the same environments. This overlap increases encounters, yet the snake's true sophistication lies in its venom. Unlike the exclusively neurotoxic strategy of the taipans, the eastern brown uses a venom that accelerates blood clotting to catastrophic levels. This unexpected mechanism can overwhelm the circulatory system and trigger rapid physiological collapse. It is a design born from ecological necessity. When prey evolve to escape quickly into grass, burrows, or cracks, the eastern brown develop venom that disrupts blood chemistry so severely that mobility fails within moments. Meanwhile, the tiger snake represents adaptation to fragmented ecosystems, wetlands, and isolated island habitats. Its venom is highly neurotoxic, yet flexible enough to act on a wide range of prey types. This variability reflects environments where food availability changes with seasons, tides, and rainfall. Tiger snakes occupy regions where the landscape shifts constantly, and their chemistry mirrors that unpredictability. Their bands of contrasting color give them their name, but the real story lies inside. Their venom binds to nerve receptors with extraordinary affinity, creating paralysis that advances quickly and reliably. The tiger snake's presence in island ecosystems also contributed to unique behavioral adaptations. Some populations evolved reduced body size, while others developed different hunting strategies based on local prey. These details show how deeply evolution customized each species to its habitat. What unites these snakes is not fear or aggression, but engineering. Each species carries a different blueprint of Australia's natural history. The Inland Taipan mastered chemical purity, the Coastal Taipan perfected speed, the Eastern Brown redefined blood chemistry as a hunting tool. The tiger snake adapted to shifting, unpredictable ecosystems. When viewed closely, the diversity within this group demonstrates the continent's extraordinary evolutionary pressure. Australia did not produce a single type of dangerous snake. It produced many, each optimized for a different environment, each shaped by millions of years of refinement. Together they form one of the greatest biological showcases on the planet, revealing how isolation can push life toward precision instead of chaos. To truly understand these species, we must go deeper into the mechanics that make them the top killers of the continent. The Inland Taipan's dominance begins with its evolutionary niche. It inhabits regions where small mammals once ruled the plains, particularly rodents and marsupials adapted to harsh inland conditions. These prey animals evolved sharp senses and rapid escape responses, forcing the taipan to become even faster at shutting down the nervous system. Its venom contains taipoxin, a neurotoxin capable of binding to nerve terminals with surgical precision. Once attached, it prevents the release of neurotransmitters, silencing the connection between brain and muscle. Paralysis is not a symptom, it is the intended effect. Yet even with this extraordinary venom, the Inland Taipan rarely bites defensively. Its natural behavior emphasizes concealment and escape, demonstrating again that lethal potential in nature does not equate to aggression. Coastal taipans present a contrast shaped by environment. They inhabit areas where prey abundance is high but also highly mobile. Rodents in coastal regions sprint with exceptional agility. Birds launch themselves into the air at the slightest hint of danger. The coastal taipan evolved speed not only in movement, but in venom spread. Its venom contains presynaptic neurotoxins that attack nerve terminals before the signal even reaches the muscle. This creates a dual blockade, cutting communication from both ends of the neurological pathway. A prey animal struck by a coastal taipan rarely travels far. The venom's efficiency ensures this. The eastern brown snake stands alone in its chemical strategy. Its venom disrupts the circulatory system by accelerating coagulation factors until the blood begins forming clots uncontrollably. This creates blockages that can rapidly impair movement, breathing, and internal stability. It is an elegant yet devastating design. In nature, shutting down a prey animal's mobility quickly is more important than creating pain or destruction. Eastern browns use minimal energy when striking. Their attack is a precise calculation, a biological decision rooted in survival. They also possess exceptional vision, allowing them to detect motion with remarkable accuracy. Their slender bodies enable rapid movement, making them one of the fastest serpents in Australia. Tiger snakes complete the collection of apex serpentine strategies with an approach shaped by their environment. They inhabit wetlands, marshes, river edges, and clusters of islands across southern Australia. In these environments, prey varies dramatically by season. Frogs dominate during warm months, Small mammals appear when rainfall patterns shift. Birds nest near water sources, presenting opportunities at certain times of year. This ecological flexibility drove tiger snakes to evolve venom capable of acting on a broad array of physiological systems. Their neurotoxins bind tightly to receptor sites, preventing nerve communication, while other components assist in dispersion and immobilization. It is a toolkit designed not for one target but for many. What makes these snakes truly exceptional is not their danger to humans, but their optimization for survival. They represent different solutions to the same evolutionary puzzle. How do you neutralize prey quickly in an environment filled with escape strategies? How do you conserve energy in unpredictable climates? How do you adapt to ecosystems that shift dramatically over time? Australia's top killers reveal the answers in their design. The Inland Taipan demonstrates chemical supremacy born from isolation and specialization. The Coastal Taipan shows how speed and venom acceleration work together to overpower quick, evasive prey. The Eastern Brown reveals the power of targeting the circulatory system, turning blood itself into a mechanism of collapse. The tiger snake showcases evolutionary flexibility and biochemical versatility. Together, these snakes illustrate a broader truth. Australia is not defined by violence, it is defined by precision. Its most dangerous snakes are not monsters but masterpieces. Their abilities were shaped not by hostility but by the demands of their environment. Every strike is a calculation. Every adaptation is a response to pressure. Every drop of venom is the product of countless generations perfecting a single goal: survival through efficiency. These serpents are the distilled essence of Australian evolution, demonstrating how isolation, climate, and time can sculpt predators capable of extraordinary biological performance. Australian snakes thrive in environments where energy is precious and mistakes are costly. Their survival depends not on displays of aggression, but on precision, restraint, and highly refined sensory interpretation. Every movement is calculated to conserve energy, reduce risk, and maximize success. Unlike predators that overpower with brute force, these serpents operate as biological strategists, navigating landscapes through silence and timing. The first principle of their strategy is minimalism. Australian snakes waste nothing. They move only when necessary, and when they move, they do so with an efficiency that seems almost mechanical. Each shift of muscle is deliberate. Each pause is a measurement. In the shimmering heat of the outback, unnecessary motion drains energy rapidly. In dense coastal forests, too much movement reveals position. Through millions of years, snakes learn to read their environments with a precision humans can barely comprehend. They sense the faintest vibrations through the ground, detecting animals long before they become visible. They interpret small shifts in air pressure and subtle chemical cues in the wind, assembling a three-dimensional map of what surrounds them. This hidden sensory world allows them to conserve energy by moving only when conditions align perfectly. Hunting is not an act of chase, it is an act of patience. An inland taipan may remain motionless for long periods, allowing heat and silence to settle around it until the desert becomes a living instrument it can read. When a small mammal approaches, the snake calculates timing through vibration and chemical detection. The strike is not a burst of aggression, but a biological equation solved in a fraction of a second. Coastal taipans, shaped by more dynamic environments, perform the same calculation with greater speed. They inhabit grasslands and forests where prey can vanish into cover instantly. Their body design reflects this pressure. Long, slender, and agile, they move with surprising acceleration. When they strike, they often employ a technique known as strike and release. Instead of holding onto the prey, they deliver the venomous bite and immediately disengage. This strategy reduces the risk of injury from struggling prey, while allowing the venom's rapid neurotoxic effects to immobilize the target quickly. From an evolutionary perspective, this method offers enormous advantages. It minimizes energy expenditure, lowers injury risk, and increases hunting success. Eastern brown snakes use a similar approach, though their behavior varies with habitat. In open fields or urban edges, where movement can attract attention, they prefer to remain motionless until prey ventures close. When they strike, the attack is swift and precise, often followed by immediate withdrawal. Their venom's unique property of accelerating clot formation means the prey collapses quickly, reducing the need for extended pursuit. Tiger snakes demonstrate yet another adaptive strategy. Living in wetlands, marshes, and islands, they must navigate environments where visibility, water levels, and prey activity fluctuate constantly. Their hunting involves slow, controlled approaches, sometimes aided by partial submersion. Their bodies cut through vegetation with minimal disruption, creating almost no visual or auditory cues. When the moment comes, they deliver strikes with strong neurotoxic venom tailored to immobilize a wide range of prey types. The consistency across species reveals a shared evolutionary principle. Aggression wastes energy, precision preserves it. In nature, energy conservation is often the difference between life and death. Snakes perfected the art of doing only what is necessary. Their defensive strategies mirror their hunting behavior. Contrary to popular imagination, Australian snakes rarely attack unless cornered. They rely first on camouflage, remaining still until a threat passes. Many species flatten their bodies or raise their heads only as a warning. These displays are calculated decisions, not expressions of emotion. If escape is possible, they choose it. If not, they prepare for the shortest, most controlled defensive strike possible. Temperature also shapes their behavior. In the intense heat of the Australian interior, snakes must regulate their movements carefully to avoid overheating. They seek shade, move during cooler hours, or remain sheltered until conditions stabilize. In cooler coastal areas, they adjust activity patterns to match prey and environmental rhythms. This sensitivity to microclimates demonstrates another layer of evolutionary precision. Every gesture balances risk and reward. Australian snakes do not dominate their ecosystems through confrontation. They dominate through restraint. Their systems are designed around efficiency and survival. Even their most dangerous capabilities, such as lethal venom, evolve not as expressions of dominance, but as tools for minimizing struggle. A venom that works quickly reduces the chance of injury. A strike-and-release technique protects the snake from retaliation. Camouflage eliminates unnecessary conflict, and sensory awareness ensures the snake always knows more about its surroundings than its surroundings know about it. Through patience, precision, and restraint, they became the silent rulers of their landscapes. What appears as danger to us is, in reality, a system of biological logic honed to perfection. And behind their speed, behind their calm, behind their lethal venom, there exists a sensory world so advanced that it challenges our understanding of animal perception. In this world, survival is not about battle or dominance. They inhabit a dimension where the world is made of chemical trails, thermal gradients, subtle earth tremors, and invisible signals woven through the environment. These vibrations travel for extraordinary distances, carrying information about size, speed, direction, and emotional state. The lower jaw of a snake acts as a sensory receiver, translating these vibrations into neural patterns. In Australia's vast interior, this ability becomes essential. A small mammal moving weeks after a drought creates vibrations different from one moving during a wet season. Snakes interpret these cues instantly, reading the land like a living map. Chemical perception forms the second layer. The forked tongue, one of evolution's most elegant tools, collects microscopic particles from the air and ground. These particles are pressed into the Jacobson's organ in the roof of the mouth, where chemical data transforms into detailed information. A snake can determine species, sex, reproductive state, diet, direction of movement, and even the emotional stress of another animal through this chemical reading. It is more advanced than any human sense. While we see a landscape of grass and stone, a snake sees a tapestry of molecular footprints. For Australian species, this is especially important. Environmental extremes mean prey animals often hide underground, beneath leaf litter, or inside dense vegetation. Sight becomes unreliable. Chemical mapping becomes the dominant guide. A coastal taipan gliding through long grass is not simply moving forward. Some species do have limited visual acuity, but many Australian snakes' evolved eyesight adapted to twilight conditions. This transitional light, known as crepuscular illumination, dominates Australian ecosystems. Dawn and dusk offer cooler temperatures, greater prey activity, and reduced exposure to predators. Snakes learn to exploit these windows by tuning their eye receptors to detect movement and contrast rather than fine detail. An eastern brown snake can detect sudden motion from surprising distances. In open fields, this ability allows it to identify threats and prey long before either gets close. In contrast, tiger snakes in wetlands use their vision to locate birds, frogs, and small mammals moving through reeds and shallow water. The fourth layer, often overlooked, is temperature detection. While not all Australian snakes possess pit organs like some vipers, they are exquisitely sensitive to environmental temperature. Their bodies operate as thermodynamic sensors, reading gradients across soil, water, and air. A slight difference in temperature can reveal the presence of prey hidden under vegetation or inside burrows. Thermal awareness also guides their movement patterns throughout the day. In the outback, where midday temperatures can be lethal, snakes adjust their exposure to prevent overheating. In cooler coastal regions, they emerge earlier or remain active longer. This mastery of thermal gradients allows them to navigate landscapes in ways humans never notice. The fifth sense is spatial intuition. Snakes possess an unconscious ability to calculate distance, angle, timing, and force with remarkable accuracy. This is not learned, it is instinctive. When a snake strikes, it performs a series of biomechanical calculations in a fraction of a second. The distance to the prey, the angle of attack, the predicted movement path, and the exact amount of muscular contraction required are all processed instantly. Australian snakes, with their high-efficiency venoms and fast-strike adaptations, elevate this instinct to its peak. A coastal taipan strike feels like a line of pure geometry. It is movement distilled into its simplest and most effective form. A tiger snake, emerging from shallow water, calculates refraction distortion to strike accurately even through shifting surfaces. The combination of vibration sensing, chemical reading, crepuscular vision, thermal awareness, and biomechanical intuition creates a world where snakes perceive far more than we do. Their environment is rich with invisible cues that tell stories: who passed through, where they went, how fast, how recently, and what emotional state they were in. The forked tongue does more than collect scent particles. Its structure allows snakes to determine the direction of the chemical source. By comparing concentration differences between the left and right tips, a snake can pinpoint exactly where a scent trail originates. This creates a directional map that functions even without visual cues. For a coastal taipan navigating thick grass or forest litter, this directional ability is essential. Prey animals move quickly through these environments, often leaving trails to faint for other predators to detect. The taipan, however, interprets them with astonishing clarity, saving energy by avoiding dead ends. Vibration sensing provides another dimension of understanding. When an animal steps on the ground, the vibration pattern differs depending on its weight, gait, and emotional state. Snakes can identify whether a vibration comes from prey or a potential threat. They can distinguish between the hurried steps of a panicked rodent and the cautious movements of a larger animal. Eastern brown snakes rely heavily on this. Living in open fields where visual cover is limited, they often remain hidden beneath leaves or soil. Through their lower jaw, they detect movements long before they risk revealing themselves. This sensory advantage helps them decide when to stay still and when to flee, conserving energy and reducing conflict. Vision, though not the primary sense, plays a crucial role in predatory precision. Australian snakes adapted to low light conditions because many prey species are active at dawn and dusk. Their eyes respond strongly to contrast and motion rather than sharp detail. This allows them to detect subtle movements across vegetation or open plains while remaining nearly invisible themselves. Tiger snakes rely on this ability in wetlands, where reflected light from water can distort visual information. Their eyes adapt by emphasizing shape changes and motion patterns, allowing them to distinguish prey moving through ripples or reeds. Thermal awareness contributes to their survival in ways humans rarely appreciate. Snakes interpret environmental temperature to optimize their metabolism, movement speed, and hunting efficiency. A well-regulated body temperature means a faster strike, quicker digestion, and improved escape responses. In desert environments, inland taipans shift between shade and sunlight to maintain ideal readiness. Their ability to read subtle thermal changes also aids in detecting warm-bodied prey beneath thin layers of soil or vegetation. This thermal mapping is not conscious, it is instinctive. Their bodies register minute temperature differences and translate them into movement decisions. Spatial intuition ties their sensory system together. When a snake strikes, every sense converges into a single action. Vibration tells them distance. Chemical cues tell them direction. Vision detects movement. Thermal gradients confirm presence. Muscle memory calculates the strike path. This integration creates one of nature's most efficient predatory processes. The strike is not random. It is a mathematical solution delivered through muscle and speed. Australian snakes excel in environments that challenge other predators. Their sensory abilities allow them to hunt effectively in dense forests, expansive deserts, windy coastal regions, and unpredictable wetlands. Their bodies read landscapes the way humans read text. Each grain of sand, each shift of air, each fragment of scent carries meaning. These senses also enhance their defensive strategies. Snakes avoid conflict by detecting threats long before they become visible. An eastern brown may flee at the first sign of vibration. A tiger snake may retreat into water the moment chemical cues indicate danger. Even the notorious coastal taipan prefers escape over confrontation, using its senses to select routes that minimize risk. Australian snakes demonstrate that perception is power. Their sensory world is subtle, refined, and deeply connected to the environment. They thrive not because they are aggressive, but because they understand their world at a level far deeper than humans can imagine. Each invisible sense reflects an evolutionary problem solved. Together they reveal a predator shaped by intelligence, restraint, and extraordinary adaptation. In this world of quiet signals and hidden patterns, snakes become not just hunters, but interpreters of the land. Their survival depends on reading the Earth's language with absolute clarity. And in the vast, extreme environments of Australia, this ability allows them to reign with silent perfection. Australia's snakes reveal some of the most fascinating evolutionary stories on the planet. Their biology is shaped not only by venom composition or behavior, but by a long sequence of environmental pressures that sculpted each species differently. One of the most intriguing facts is that Australia has almost no vipers, despite being home to the most venomous snakes in the world. This absence is not a coincidence. It is a consequence of history. Millions of years ago, when the continents drifted apart, Australia separated before vipers had fully radiated across the globe. Without vipers, an ecological niche remained open. Evolution filled it with something entirely different. Elapids emerged as the dominant lineage, and with little competition from vipers, they diversified rapidly, spreading across deserts, forests, coasts, and wetlands. This early isolation allowed them to experiment with venom strategies untouched by the chemical arms races happening elsewhere. While vipers in Africa and Asia refined hemotoxic venoms that cause internal destruction, Australian elapids refined neurotoxins that act with surgical precision. This divergence became one of the defining biological characteristics of the continent. Another evolutionary curiosity lies in how prey shape venom chemistry. Australian mammals, especially small marsupials, developed unique defense strategies over time. Many were fast, agile, and capable of diving into burrows or dense vegetation in an instant. To counter this, snakes evolved venom capable of disabling prey before escape. This explains why so many Australian species develop toxins that act directly on the nervous system rather than relying on circulatory collapse or tissue degradation. The Inland Taipan S venom evolved within a harsh inland ecosystem dominated by small mammals adapted to extreme climates. As these prey species underwent rapid physiological changes to survive droughts, limited food, and extreme temperature shifts, their nervous systems adapted to become more resilient. Evolution responded by refining the Taipan S venom into a multi-layered chemical strategy capable of shutting down mobility quickly and reliably. The result was the most potent land snake venom ever recorded, not because the Taipan needed it for defense, but because its prey demanded it for survival. The eastern brown snake demonstrates a different path. Living in environments shaped by both natural and human influence, it developed venom that manipulates blood chemistry rather than relying exclusively on neurotoxic pathways. Its venom accelerates clotting so dramatically that the circulatory system becomes overwhelmed. This rapid disruption of internal stability prevents prey from running far, which is critical in open landscapes where visibility is high and escape routes are numerous. The ecological overlap between eastern browns and humans created another evolutionary effect. Rodents, drawn to farms and settlements, provided the brown snake with abundant food sources. As prey populations grew, the snake's selective pressures shifted, rewarding individuals that could process rapid, evasive movement and act with minimal wasted energy. Tiger snakes offer a third evolutionary story. Across southern Australia, they inhabit islands, marshes, river banks, and forests. Each location presents different environmental challenges. On islands, certain populations became smaller due to limited food availability. In wetter habitats, they adapted to colder temperatures and variable resources. Their venom reflects this complexity. Instead of specializing in one target, tiger snakes developed a venom mix effective against cold-blooded prey like frogs and warm-blooded prey like mammals and birds. This biochemical versatility mirrors their ecological flexibility. The coastal taipan continued evolving along a different trajectory. As forests expanded and contracted across northern Australia, prey species diversified. Rodents became faster and more agile. Birds adapted to unpredictable climates. Evolution responded by shaping a snake that was both quick and precise. The coastal taipan's long, narrow body and exceptionally fast strike emerged as solutions to an environment where reaction speed determined survival. Their neurotoxic venom evolved to spread quickly and bind efficiently, ensuring prey could not escape even when moving at full speed. One of the most captivating curiosities is behavioral adaptation. Inland taipans change their diet seasonally. During certain times of the year, they shift from one primary prey species to another, demonstrating a flexibility rarely seen in desert-adapted predators. Each dietary shift subtly influences venom expression, creating changes in potency and composition. Eastern browns thrive in urbanized areas, demonstrating remarkable ecological tolerance. Unlike many predators that retreat when human development expands, the eastern brown integrates into new landscapes long as prey remains abundant. Tiger snakes residing on isolated islands often become more docile or alter their hunting strategies depending on the availability of prey. Some island populations developed behaviors that differ significantly from mainland snakes, providing a glimpse into microevolution unfolding in real time. These patterns show that venom evolution is not a static process. It is continuous, shaped by weather, geography, prey behavior, and even climate cycles. Australia's snakes are living archives of evolutionary experimentation. Each species reflects a different combination of pressures, opportunities, and adaptations. And these evolutionary stories extend far deeper than venom. They include changes in skull shape, muscle arrangement, striking mechanics, and even emotional thresholds. While snakes do not experience emotion the way humans do, they do possess instinctive thresholds that determine how quickly they flee, hide, or defend themselves. These behavioral thresholds vary by species and habitat, revealing subtle evolutionary tuning. In hotter, more exposed environments, snakes tend to have lower aggression thresholds and higher escape priorities. In cooler or denser habitats, behavior shifts toward energy conservation and strategic positioning. These differences are not random. They are the result of millions of years of fine adjustments. The evolutionary differences among Australian snakes reveal not only how they adapted to survive, but how they diverged from reptiles in the rest of the world. One of the most striking aspects of Australian serpents is how their morphology shifted in response to the landscape. In deserts, muscles became dense and efficient, allowing snakes like the Inland Taipan to conserve energy during long periods of inactivity. Their bodies are designed to store energy and release it quickly when striking. In coastal regions, the Coastal Taipan develop longer, more flexible musculature that supports high-speed pursuit through complex terrain. Its narrow frame allows it to glide through tall grasses and underbrush with minimal resistance. Tiger snakes evolve different body structures depending on local conditions. Island populations sometimes exhibit shorter bodies and reduced mass to limited prey availability, while mainland populations tend to be larger and more robust. These differences reflect how quickly snakes respond to environmental constraints. Even within the same species, evolution can produce distinct physical forms depending on location. Another intriguing evolutionary curiosity is Australia's lack of pit vipers. Without pit organs, Australian snakes adapted differently to thermal detection. Instead of relying on heat-sensing pits, they honed sensitivity in other sensory channels. Many Australian elapids developed highly refined vibration detection and chemical processing abilities to compensate for the absence of heat-sensing structures found in vipers elsewhere. This divergence shows how evolution does not follow a single path. It responds to what is available, and in Australia, the available path led toward neurotoxic specialization. Molecular studies reveal that Australian snake venoms contain peptides and proteins rarely seen in other parts of the world. These molecules target neural pathways with remarkable precision, often acting on multiple receptor sites simultaneously. This multi-target mechanism gives Australian venoms an adaptability advantage. If prey develop resistance to one toxin, others remain effective. The evolutionary struggle between snakes and prey in Australia created a biochemical arms race unmatched in most ecosystems. Small mammals developed faster reflexes, improved cardiovascular resilience, and even partial immunity to certain toxins. In response, snakes refine their venom to act faster, bind more strongly, and disable multiple systems concurrently. Over thousands of generations, this evolutionary tug-of-war sculpted venom profiles that are unique to each region. Another key curiosity involves reproductive strategies. Some species of tiger snakes give birth to live young rather than laying eggs. This adaptation allows them to reproduce successfully in colder climates where eggs might not survive. Live birth also increases the mobility of the species, enabling females to shift locations if conditions change. Eastern browns, by contrast, lay eggs and often select hidden, thermally stable environments where heat supports rapid development. This reproductive divergence showcases how snakes modify their biological strategies to match local environments. Seasonal cycling also plays a significant role in evolutionary differences. Inland environments experience extreme temperature fluctuations, so inland taipans and similar species adjust their hunting and reproduction cycles accordingly. During cooler periods, snakes become less active, conserving energy and minimizing exposure. In tropical regions, snakes must contend with monsoons, sudden floods, and rapidly shifting prey populations. Coastal taipans adapted to take advantage of post-strain surges in rodent numbers, adjusting their movement patterns to match prey abundance. Tiger snakes in wetlands evolved behaviors suited for environments where water levels shift unpredictably. They can swim efficiently, hide beneath submerged vegetation, and strike through water with surprising accuracy. Their skull morphology even reflects these aquatic adaptations, providing clues to their evolutionary path. One of the most fascinating microevolutionary examples is the variation in venom expression across populations. Snakes in different regions can express slightly different venom profiles based on prey availability. This means the same species may produce more potent neurotoxins in one area and a more diverse chemical mixture in another. Environmental stressors like droughts, fires, and prey declines can also influence venom evolution. When prey becomes scarce, selection pressures may favor snakes that conserve energy or those capable of hunting alternative species. Venom evolves in response, demonstrating remarkable plasticity. Another curiosity lies in behavioral tolerance toward humans. Eastern browns in urban regions often display higher flight tendencies, likely because human presence acts at repeated selective pressure. Snakes more inclined to flee survive longer, passing those tendencies onward. Meanwhile, island tiger snakes may display increased boldness because they evolved without large terrestrial predators. These behavioral differences demonstrate that evolution shapes not just venom and physiology, but temperament itself. At the core of all these variations is a single truth. Australian snakes are masterpieces of adaptation. Their differences reveal how evolution responds to every detail of the environment: temperature, prey type, landscape structure, predator presence, resource abundance, and even human influence. Each species carries a unique evolutionary fingerprint, and together, they reveal the extraordinary creativity of nature when given time, isolation, and pressure to work freely. Australia is often imagined as a continent of danger, but its serpents reveal a deeper and far more elegant truth. This land, shaped by isolation and extremes, did not create monsters. It created precision. Every scale, every silent movement, every drop of venom is the result of millions of years spent refining survival into art. The snakes that glide through deserts, forests, wetlands, and coasts are not defined by brutality. They are defined by balance. Their venom is not cruelty, it is adaptation. Their speed is not aggression, it is efficiency. And their senses, so finely tuned to vibrations, temperature, and molecular trails, form a language of perception that humans can barely begin to understand. In the red heart of the continent, an inland taipan rises from the earth like a shadow woven from heat. Along the northern coast, a coastal taipan measures distance with flawless geometry. In fields and open plains, The eastern brown snake moves with a calm that hides its extraordinary power. On scattered islands and quiet marshes, tiger snakes navigate shifting waters with grace. Each species carries a message from Australia's ancient past, a message written not in myth, but in biology. These snakes are reminders that evolution does not reward dominance, violence, or chaos. It rewards precision, restraint, and understanding. It rewards the creatures that listen to the earth instead of fighting against it. Their presence reveals a continent where survival became a dialogue between organism and environment. Australia did not shape its snakes through conflict. It shaped them through necessity, through subtle pressures that sharpened senses, refined venom, and sculpted bodies capable of thriving where many others could not. And when we look at them with scientific clarity rather than fear, we see the truth. These snakes are not threats to be feared. They are masterpieces to be respected, living equations, biological poems. Silent engineers of ecological balance, they protect rodent populations, regulate food webs, and maintain the rhythms of the land. Without them, Australia would be incomplete. In this vast continent of extremes, the serpents do more than survive. They reign, not with noise or intimidation, but with quiet perfection. Their power is not loud, it is precise. Their presence is not chaos, it is order, and their story is not about danger, it is about design. As the final light slips across the outback and the forests cool into night, the snakes return to their hidden paths. The land exhales, the silence deepens, and we are left with a truth that echoes far beyond the desert, the wetlands, or the forests. In Australia, life learned to master the extreme, and the snakes that inhabit this ancient land stand as some of its greatest teachers. Continue exploring the empire of serpents with us.